Hail Kingdom! In today's post-XL2 video, we're taking this monk right from Clear Fell into tier 15 maps. Yeah, it's complete leveling build with a combination you probably never used. That's how this guy will clear maps, so it's pretty easy, straightforward and really fun. Also, he's pretty powerful against bosses. Well, let's not wait and get straight into the business. Clear Fell. So, initial idea of this build was based around Falling Thunder. I actually wanted to make completely 100% lightning monk. And Falling Thunder is most of the time overlooked skill, because you get it right from the get-go when you start playing, and it's just a slam skill that converts a bunch of physical damage to lightning and deals a little bit of damage. But when you reach Clear Fell, most of the time you forget that this skill actually got second property, and it's projectile. So this projectile converts all your physical damage to lightning, it pierces all targets, it deals more damage if it consumed power charge, and deals even more damage per power charge consumed. At the beginning of the game you can have up to 3 power charges, therefore you can deal 250% more damage, and more is multiplicative word. So yeah, if it's more and not increased, it gives you a lot more damage than increased modifiers, since again it's multiplicative and not addictive modifier. Therefore I decided to play with Falling Thunder. But how we can generate power charges in early game? You probably watched some builds and you know that, yeah, you can wait until you unlock Profane Ritual, you will consume corpses and you will get power charges. Well, no, actually we got everything again right from the get-go. Killing Palm, that's what we will use. That's how it works. You dash to enemy, so it's a movement skill at the same time, pretty nice. It doesn't have movement tech though, so you can't use any movement speed, any movement support gems, but that's fine. It gives you movement, so it's just nice skill. And it's area of effect, melee strike, physical skill. Area of effect is great, but it's tiny, so it doesn't matter too much. Most importantly, you will kill. Basically, will kill enemies if they below certain threshold. And this threshold written on the screen right now for basic, magic, and rare and unique enemies. So you can't kill bosses from 30% health. This totally makes sense. And depending on the rarity of enemy you will kill, basically you will get power charges. You will get more power charges from more rare enemies. But it doesn't matter again, most important stuff is to kill. Basically kill one enemy and get this power charge. That's how it looks like. So when enemies will have this blue icons on them, you can use this killing pound to dash and you will get this power charge. However, you actually don't need to have insane precision to activate this cool. Actually, any enemy that you will kill with Killing Pound will give you power charges. So as you can see, I got like multiple of them. So by defeating a bunch of enemies, we got our power charges, and now we can use our Falling Thunder. Well, guess what? That's how Falling Thunder will look normally. So that's like normal Falling Thunder. You just slam, you will defeat a bunch of enemies in front of. But after gaining power charges, you will deal with fissures all over the screen. With just 3 power charges, it will look like this. You will just clear whole screen with insane amount of fissures, because you will get multiple fissures per power charge. Here's the fun part. While it looks like it's fissures, it's actually projectiles. Therefore, you can benefit from different projectile bonuses. For example, you can use multi-shot in the beginning, and we will cover our support gems soon. But what I like Nova projectiles, of course, they're just feeling amazing in this season. It's new support gem, and it will give you ability to fire projectiles in different sides. Basically, you will fire them in a circle. So that's how it looks like. You gain power charge, and now you will fire projectiles in a circle. Guess what will happen if you get like more than like 1 power charge? That's how will screen look, and this looks amazing. It's clear everything because it pierces every enemy. It deals like insane amount of damage. It's just crazy skill. And basically that's what we will use for beginning of the game. Again, I use this character as my second character, so I already unlocked a bunch of slots, but it works extremely well even without all the support gems. It's just super good. So all you need on Falling Thunder is basically rapid attacks, so you attack faster, because without rapid attacks it's just bad, and some damaging stuff. So elemental ornament, like any lightning damage support gem, will work. Just look for damage, elemental damage, lightning damage, and so on. Since even without any additional projectiles it will work. You can add Nova projectiles when you unlock them, but it's like an uncut support gem level 3, I guess. Also you can use multiple projectiles, so you can have more projectiles instead of elemental ornament, for example. And then you basically can increase damage by using Fist of War to ancestrally boost this stuff, or you can use again more and more different damage amplifications for elemental and lightning damage. So it doesn't matter like too much what gems you're using exactly, as far as you get at least rapid attacks for more attack speed and then more damage. In the end, again, we're using no projectiles, and that's it. For killing Palm, most important stuff is Charge Profusion. Charge Profusion will give you a chance to grant additional charge. That's super big stuff, because you want to have more charges and not just once. With some attacks you will get like 2 charges per one attack, and this give you a lot more projectiles. Again, even in the beginning, it's better to have just straight projectiles instead of full circle. Full circle is great if you want to clear screens, but when you're leveling you want to clear stuff in front of you, so you get power charges and shoot, and you want to shoot like forward. So for killing Palm, of course we're using Rage to generate Rage, therefore generate more power, and Rapid Attacks. Rapid Attacks is also great. So that's like most important gems, they located from left to right, from most important to least important. And then you can finish again with like more area of effect for killing Palm. I'm like checking if this works or not, but actually it's not needed. Technically you want just more damage. I tested Culling Strike, it's great because it gives you more threshold, but it's not a lot. So basic stuff like close combat will just work. It gives you more attack damage to enemies who is in front of you in close combat. That's just great support gem. Of course, this combination is not enough to defeat bosses. So against bosses in Act 1, Act 2, I used Tempest Bell in most cases. You just attack a few times, you put the bell, then you hit the bell, you hit the boss, and you defeat the boss. It's a lot easier, of course, to do it with nice and powerful skills. So for this build, again, if you like Ice Strike more, you can use Ice Strike, but probably you're speccing into like elemental and lightning damage, so you can use Tempest Flurry. I used Tempest Flurry in this build, and that's basically the last skill you need to unlock when you're defeating Act 1. So you will get Tempest Bell, you will get Tempest Flurry, and you see on the screen right now how boss is defeated. Boss is defeated like that, of course with some like powerful gems. It may be slower for you, but it just works. And that's how like your combination works, and that's how you easily defeat boss. So for Tempest Flurry, it's super easy and straightforward. It's rapid attacks for more attack speed, it's rage to generate rage and more power, and it's elemental ornament to get more damage. Super easy and straightforward, just as easy as it could get. What support gems to use on Tempest Bell? Well, you can actually see my complete setups after end of each act, and this will be in a pinned comment. That's my build by the end of Act 1. There's also passive skill tree, so you can check what I leveled. When you're leveling, you want to have more and more damage, attack speed over here, more attack damage, and more attack damage over here. And support gems on Tempest Bell, it's overabundance, it's super important, so you can chain these bells, because without overabundance you won't be able to drop second bell right after the first one ended. And then it's just damage, so it can be close combat, it can be elemental ornament for more elemental damage, it can be like any other damage amplificator. In the end, it's heavy swing and heft, so if you got all gems already, if it's your second character, that's support gems you want to use. And again, you can easily check what I used. And as you can see, there's also Herald of Thunder over here. Well, yes, while leveling you will unlock a bunch of support gems, and Herald of Thunder is one of them. I mean spirit gems. And in Act 1 we definitely want this Herald of Thunder. Basically it will give you ability to kill shocked enemy, and you will shock enemies with falling thunder a lot, and it will amplify damage of next falling thunders, and also it will amplify damage of killing Palm, because it will add this extra lightning damage on top. For Herald of Thunder it's again super easy. Right now when you can use the same gems on every skill, you just want to use more and more damage. So concentrated area, elemental focus, elemental ornament, long shot will work. By the end of this adventure I used Living Lightning, but Living Lightning is useful if you got nice strength. So after I leveled up a little bit, I got an amulet that gave me loads of strength and loads of dexterity, and that's why this skill is really nice, because it gives me attack speed and power to these minions. Otherwise, these minions are pretty useless. in my opinion. So I would stick with just damage, damage, damage. Elemental focus, elemental armament, stuff like that. Overreach is nice, it gives you area of effects, it's area of effect attack, so we losing area with concentrated effect, but with overreach we increasing it. You can, like, again, get just more damage and it will work. And just like that you will easily reach Act 2, you will clear Act 2 also pretty easily without any problems, but then you will find yourself in situations where enemy density is pretty high and it's really sometimes hard to cool them. So if you can't cool them easily, you can't generate power charges and you won't be able to clear like that, for example. But at the same time, as you can see, some areas over here actually got loads of walls, and even if you can't clear like this, if you do it in these tight spaces, you will do almost no damage, because projectiles won't go past these walls. This way is how you can fix it. You can use a ricochet support gem that will give you ability to basically ricochet your projectiles off terrain. This works. Or we actually unlock new skill towards end of this act, or towards middle. So there's a bunch of extra lightning skills. Siphoning Strike, it's pretty fun one. It's also a nice way to generate power charges, but there's a problem with the skill. So to generate power charge with Siphoning Strike, first of all you need to shock enemy, and it's payoff skill, so you can't shock enemy with Siphoning Strike, and that's actually a problem with this skill. The skill just don't work, basically. I mean, you can make it work, but it's weird. Just imagine, you need to shock enemy first, then you can attack him with Siphoning Strike, and only then you have ability to actually generate power charge, but it will eat shock from enemy. So it's viable against bosses a little bit if you use Tempest Flurry and then Siphoning Strike to generate power charges of this. For example, shock, so you hit few attacks with Tempest Flurry, then Siphoning Strike. But at this point of the game, I really recommend you just get good weapons that actually able to defeat enemies, and instead use Storm Wave. So Storm Wave is area of effect, melee lightning damage. And this will look like this. You will just go and you will shoot in tight spaces. If enemy comes in, they will be destroyed. So that's basically how it works. Normally it shoot just one single kind of projectile, fissure, or whatever it is. Probably fissure actually, since we will use branching fissures or upheaval. I actually used upheaval. There is a big difference between branching fissures and upheaval. So branching fissures will give you ability to basically branch your fissure 2 times. And if you look closely, you're basically shooting one little fissure and then it branches left, right and forward. So look here, you see, and like the problem, it branches randomly. So there's no pattern, and sometimes it branches early, sometimes it branches like in this place. So there's no control, and that's why I never used it before reaching endgame. Instead I used upheaval. Upheaval will also reduce your damage, but that's fair because you're reducing your damage, but you're hitting like 3 times instead of just 1 time. And this will, branching fissures, will reduce your area of effect. So instead, I like to cover more area, whole screen basically. Take a look at the difference. That's how upheaval looks. It just covers whole area in front of you, and this area is constant. And if you're standing close to an enemy, you actually combine this damage. So it's a lot easier to defeat bosses with upheaval. You just come close and start attacking them from melee range, and you actually deal like insane amount of damage. So from this point you actually can play with this upheaval in tight spaces, and in open spaces you just do exactly like you did before. So you just kill a bunch of enemies and then do this quarter staff attack. Combine it and you got your Act 2 Demolisher basically. So let's take a look at our passive skill tree at this point. I invested in damage over here, I invested in attack speed over here, and also a little bit of evasion over here into attack speed and damage. And of course, since we're shocking enemies a lot, that's the place where we want to be. We want to increase our elemental damage and more elemental damage if we shocked enemy recently. Basically you got some ice damage, or you got some fire damage, so you can ignite them. Then definitely take these big notes also. At this point I got quarterstaff with mostly lightning damage and just a little bit of cold, so I skipped it and I used only lightning damage in my elemental damage passive tree. So now we're going into the fun part, like we could say, into charge stuff, of course. So charge stuff is also an option for this build, and I used it a little bit. Basically you get a little bit of power charges, and that's Act 3 basically when you unlock it. So that's power charge, and now you hit with extra lightning damage on top. It looks pretty cool, but here's the problem. Normally with this Killing Palm you actually dash towards enemy all the time, but with this charge stuff active, there's 2 problems. As you can see right now, I'm using it and I'm not generating any power charges. Why? Because you can actually kill enemies before you touch them with your palm. So for example, enemy is low on life, so if you kill them with charged staff attack, well, you're not getting power charges. Still, it's useful if you generate power charges and just activate it on boss, and this will give you extra damage on top of your branching fissures, so this works. Or it will give you this extra damage on top of our favorite quick attack, our Tempest Flurry, of course. So this also works, and at this point I would say it's up to you how you want to approach it. You can use charge stuff, you can skip it if it's like too much buttons for you, but basically for clearing mobs we're using Killing Palm, we're using Falling Thunder, we're using Stormwave in some cases. For bosses, most of the time I use Tempest Flurry and Bell, so charge stuff is just the miss for this build. Again, I just showed you that you can use it, but of course it's curious to see how this character will perform on area level 80 against bosses that is fully juiced. And that's basically how it looks like. So you just kill a bunch of enemies and you start destroying everyone around you, and that's it against basic enemies. It's pretty fun style. Yeah, that's basically gameplay, and it's a little bit refreshing, I would say. It's pretty funny. Also, it's like insanely fast. So you're actually like going forward and hitting enemies, pow, 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 and they out. So that's how it looks like, and it looks cool. Another cool part is actually there's not a lot of crazy effects going on, so a lot of explosions, and actually it's just like very good FPS for this build. So if you have any problems with millions of explosions on the screen, well, this build is good. You still will have a little bit of problems against green guys, because they just like too much of them on the screen most of the time. But I got a solution already on that in a second, but that's how we will fight Breach, pretty like milk, pretty dense Breach. As you can see, it's easy and fun. But hey, to have like this fun, let's call it like this fun, you actually need to survive. So you need to survive against monsters. How survival works? Survival is super easy actually in this build, and that's basically how it works. A lot of you will ask question in a comment, do you need quarter staff or you can play Hollow Palm? Well, you can play Hollow Palm, but Hollow Palm will use mixed armor. Mixed armor means energy shield and evasion. If you got some good piece of armor, and it's pretty easy to find some good like 2.5k evasion rating armor, it won't be very costly, let's call it like this. You will benefit from Lead Me Through the Grace passive. As you can see, I don't even have it right now. So you will have loads of spirit, and I'm still building this build in the late game. We're talking about leveling, and for leveling I'm using just this extra damage as cold damage, and critical hits will ignore negative resistances. Actually, respeccing into critical hit right now. I played without critical hit when I leveled, and I'm level 92 right now, so again, no critical hit needed. So main problem with Hollow Palm, again, no critical hit needed on your tree, but you want to critical hit sometime with this build. And Hollow Palm will not give you critical hit chance if you're not having any energy shield on your equipped armor items. And you won't have a lot of energy shield on your equipped armor items, let's call it like this. I mean, you will have a little bit on your gloves, maybe a little bit on your boots, maybe a little bit on your helmet. Main piece that comes with armor, of course, is your body piece. So if your body piece is not mixed, you're losing some stuff on your Hollow Palm. If your Hollow Palm is fine without this critical hit chance, yeah, you can run it on Hollow Palm. But I like to use quarter staff, flexible itemization, and we want to use this enhanced reflexes to gain deflection based on our evasion rating. That's a big note, it gives us loads of protection, so it's super important. And also here we will get increased evasion. Basically this evasion note is super big, and by getting only evasion based armor, we're actually getting insane amount of energy shield on top. So that's like best survival combination right now. You're getting maximum energy shield per your evasion on your body armor, and no mixed body armor will give you 2k evasion plus with around 1k energy shield. So yeah, this armor gives me 1k energy shield. That's just crazy. Our survival is of course also based on combination of our buffs. And buffs you're using for survival is Ghost Dance and Wind Dancer. So these two guys over here gives insane amount of survival, and Ghost Dance can be used only with one support gem. It's just compressed duration, so it activates faster, and whenever you get hit, you will regenerate energy shield based on your evasion. Again, one more reason to have a lot of evasion, and Wind Dancer will actually increase your evasion. For Wind Dancer, I'm using Elemental Ornament, Close Combat, Maim, and Blind. Basically, some passive abilities and some active abilities. You actually want to deal like as much damage as possible with Wind Dancer, so you can completely skip Maim and Blind. Blind is great because it will blind enemies, and blinded enemies will less likely to hit you once again, so that's like nice combination. But overall, Maim is not really important. And that's basically our survival. Let's get to the boss fight. And versus bosses, again, as I told you, you can use Tempest Flurry, so you can just go on to attack and try to defeat them with brute force, or you can be more careful and attack from distance with this like branching features. It crits and it deals like nice damage if it crits, so you can be like pretty like careful and then destroy them when they stunned or something like that. To stun enemies, we again trying to use critical hits, and you will increase stun build-up if you anoint your amulet with overwhelming strikes. It will increase stun build-up with critical hits, so that's what I will do soon, but not right now. Again, I would say it's better to skip charge stuff, it's better to still use Bell and basically use this quarter stuff, strikes, flurry, to generate combinations, and drop the Bell, and then attack with like this branching fissures. It will work. But honestly, that's the build. It's pretty fun, easy, powerful, but it will be even more powerful. So stay tuned, subscribe, and there will be 0 to hero of this build on the screen right now when it's ready. So if you're watching it not on the release date, enjoy this video, really check this out, it's already insanely broken.